Alrighty, we are live. If you're tuning in on the replay, thank you so much for being here. I feel a little bit rusty today. I feel like with these podcasts, we've been doing them, one or two times a week, and I've been away for the last 4 days. Straight back in here Monday, and yeah, I feel just a little bit rusty. So I need to get warmed up. So I'm going to do the normal check, make sure that I am live, and that you can hear and see me. Okay, don't want to be speaking to myself. What I need to ask you is, if you're coming in on the replay, please drop a comment and say, as you know, hashtag replay. Let me know where you're tuning in from. It's always fun to see where people are listening from. I think last time the biggest difference in people location-wise was Shetland, so the Shetland Islands, and Florida. So that's quite a big stretch of land. So if you're tuning in from anywhere remote, anywhere cool, let me know. I'm trying to find my page here so I can make sure that I'm actually talking to you guys and not just talking to myself. And then we can get this party started. If you're tuning in live, drop a comment as well. Let me know where you are watching from. That's always fun. Cool. It is working. I can hear myself and I can see a few comments coming in already, which is great. Awesome, folks. Thanks you so much for being here, tuning in live. I appreciate it. Drop a comment, like I say, on the platform that you're listening to. You see Owen is currently locked in Spain. So we've got Spain, we have Shetland again. That is very cool. I'm going to get this party started. You're going to enjoy today's show. It's an exciting one with a really good friend of mine. And let's get this party started, shall we? So I need to remember how to do this. I need to hit record. We are hitting record. I need to press the music and roll the intro. Hey, you are listening to the Funnels and Growth Show. My name is Gavin Bell, and I've discovered a little bit of a problem. You see, too many entrepreneurs are great at what they do, but they never see true growth because all too often they rely on luck, hustle, and hope to grow, which, as you probably know, is not the best marketing strategy. So in this show, I aim to uncover the secrets around creating a marketing system that allows you to build your audience, generate more leads, and acquire customers at a profit. Now, on today's show, I have a great friend of mine, someone that I am in a bit of a mastermind with, we should say. It's not necessarily a mastermind, but it might as well be a mastermind. He's a fellow young-ish Facebook marketer and is the CEO of Gecko Squared, a Facebook advertising agency that get, by the way, incredible results, which is awesome. He's also a speaker, having recently spoken at Social Media Marketing World before the world went crazy and we were all locked down. And he also contributes to Social Media Today, Social Media Examiner, Agora Pulse, and more. I am super excited to have this guy on the show, and I just want you to go absolutely mental at home, wherever you're listening to this, as I introduce Charlie Lawrence to the show. Charlie, welcome.
Thank you, man. That intro was awesome. I love that. Thank you so much. Yeah, glad to be here.
It's a pleasure. You need to have a good intro for an equally awesome guest. So I'm super pumped to have you here, dude.
Thank you.
I know we get to chat quite regularly now, but it's cool to do this and have the camera rolling, as they say.
Yeah, definitely.
Because it's always good conversations. So,
yes.
First of all, how are you?
Good? I'm good. Yeah, really good. Had a good, restful Sunday because it's 6-day weeks at the moment, long hours, loads of growth in the agency, new team members. It's all a little bit crazy, like the current state of the world right now, but in a good way, at least. So yeah, it's I'm ready for this week. We've got loads of stuff to be doing. And
amazing, I think. Yeah, and I think this is one of the reasons I'm really excited about this conversation, is because in a world where things are going crazy. So we're currently recording this on the 19th of October, 2020. So we're listening back in 60 years' time. We're currently just out of lockdown. But what I'm interested to chat about is, obviously, in a world where things are a bit crazy and businesses are dying and all these horrible types of things, you are you're going strength to strength. You're growing, which is awesome. And I want to dive into some of that today. But first of all, I have a more important question, which is, Charlie, if you could only eat one meal for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Oh, that's a good question. One meal for the rest of my life. I would say, it's got to be steak, chips, peppercorn sauce, some type of vegetable. Not too fussed really about the vegetables, if I'm honest, but steak and chips, peppercorn sauce, that's a go-to. I love eating that when I go out to restaurants, which haven't done much of, if I'm honest, given the current state of everything, and won't really be doing anything because I'm in Wales and they have just announced a circuit breaker lockdown for 2 weeks of everything from Friday, so the end of the week. So yeah, it's got that to look forward to. Let's be honest.
Fun times, fun times. Got to love politicians these days.
I know.
However, let's not get into politics.
No.
Peppercorn sauce, that is a great choice. Although I would probably have something similar, but I would swap out the peppercorn for a bit of béarnaise. I'm a béarnaise sauce kind of guy.
Oh, nice.
But like we spoke about, Charlie, in the intro. So, of course, the world is a bit crazy right now. Businesses aren't doing too well in the grand scheme of things, but you're growing your team, which is awesome. So I want you to, can you give like a bit of background into your journey from, when you first got started in ads, and I presume you were doing, everything yourself as a general freelancer or consultant, to where you're at now as a business owner. What's that journey look like to you?
Right. So the journey for me really started probably when I was 18. So that's like 10 years ago now. So that's when I first started like buying media as such. So I started a first business when I was 18. It was really kind of the thing to get me into business school, having left school, basically. So it helped on the UCAS application. Long story short, it was a company selling like wristbands to festivals, basically. And we used Google Ads and things like that. So that's where I really kind of first started. Went to uni, did a business degree, started an app development company with an old school friend of mine whilst I was at uni. And we ended up building a whole bunch of apps for clients. That got me into client services. That got me into Facebook advertising for launching apps. That got me into more Google advertising for finding clients. Ultimately, that business failed. The co-founder moved on to a family business, and that kind of broke the business up as such. And then I had this decision. I had finished uni. I had previously worked at a marketing agency as well. Became really good friends with the MD there. He said, there's a job available. I was probably maybe a year or two out of university, 21, 22 at the time. And that was sitting there. And then there was this other opportunity. Do I kind of go out on my own, take everything that I'd learned from the first business, so the one before university, app development company, client service business as well, and kind of just start my own agency as such. So that was 2014. That's when Gecko Squared started. As you said it, in your kind of question, it was just me at the start. It's bootstrapped, self-funded. Everything I earned went back into the business. Lots and lots of hard years of kind of grind and just no holidays, just head down, phone call after phone call after phone call, strategy session. I think I did like 400 strategy sessions in the first year to kind of find loads of new clients. It was heavy. So we obviously found clients. It was very similar to a Facebook post you did the other day, being like, oh, my first client I charged, I think you said like $500 to manage their ads. Mine was like £300, so like $450. I was like, yeah, that's loads of money. I only need 10 of those clients and I'll be making absolute bank and I'll just be so happy. And then you realize, oh, I'm massively undercharging for the services. And so basically fast forward a couple of years, we got to the point where we were working with better and better clients, obviously charging more and more money. And now if we take a step further to where we are now, obviously 2020, we are now going to be come January, because there's 2 people starting full time in January. We're going to be a team of 8 of us. So yeah, going from 0 to 8 people. We're working with bigger and better clients. We're having a bigger impact. And it's allowed having account managers, and we're bringing graphic design fully in-house as well from January. It just allows us to better control the service we deliver, because obviously one of the key components now we're realizing is creative is so important for Facebook advertising, and not enough advertisers put time, effort into building out really good visual creative, both images and videos. So it's something we decided to offer as a complementary service alongside our regular ad services. And again, we've been able to have more control over that, and that's got really, really good results. So yeah, that's kind of the journey. I think that's a lot of businesses' journey, where you start just yourself, and then as you grow, you build a team around the services you're delivering, and become the leader of the team, basically.
Yeah, it's amazing. So from like freelance or on your own to a team of eight
Yeah.
is an awesome journey. What's like so there's going to be people listening that are currently in that freelance role and they're
Hmm.
doing their own thing, and they're probably at that point where they're charging maybe $500, 350
Hmm.
quid, whatever it is per month,
Hmm.
and they want to get to that next stage.
Yeah.
For you, what was like the first stage of that first stage of growth, if that makes sense? Was it putting your prices up? Was it just
Yeah.
taking somebody on even though you couldn't afford to take them on? What was
It,
what was that thing for you?
I probably played it pretty safe because I'm a bit of a control freak. Anyone who really knows me, and anyone on the team as well, knows that I'm a bit of a control freak. So I find it hard to kind of delegate a lot of tasks because I got so used to doing it just me. And so that first stage of growth was increasing pricing, number one, because it wasn't just artificially increasing pricing because I just wanted to make more money. It was really assessing the value we're delivering, and the value we got, 3, 4, 5, 6x return. We should have been charging way, way more. And that's exactly what we did. We doubled pricing, and we basically kept on double pricing until we hit a ceiling on kind of regular acquisition, where there were more people having objections to the pricing than there were saying yes. And then we kind of scaled back from there. And
That's
then
awesome.
at a lower price point, we were able to bring in account managers, have more volume of clients, and kind of grow the business from that perspective.
Nice one. So I think if I were looking at, in my experience of speaking to people who are in this journey of client services, and
Yeah.
there's probably a lot of people here that are running Facebook ads for clients or social media
Mhm.
management type things. Putting your prices up is one of those things that I guarantee 99% of the people listening should and could
Yeah.
do. And
Mhm.
there's really only one thing that stifles business growth in my experience, and that tends to be cash flow. And cash
Yeah.
flow, what happens is people don't generate enough leads. They then don't
Mhm.
get enough sales, and then they have to take on clients for a lower price point than they want to, and then they have this problem of cash flow issues. And one of the best ways to fix that is simply just put your prices up. So it's
Yeah,
awesome. Very
definitely.
cool. So you're building a remote team, which is
Yes.
very cool. And one of the things that I know about you and have seen about you is that you're very big on values.
Oh,
On your
yeah.
website, you have a page dedicated to it.
Mhm.
So how do you ensure that you have a culture, or you have a culture first and foremost, and then
Mhm.
how do you ensure that you have a culture fit with the remote team that you're building?
Yeah. So really good question. So as the business owner, as the founder, as the CEO, the culture starts with me, basically. It was how I'd been building the business and working with clients when it was just me. So it's looking at, things like, we have 6 core values we live by on the Gecko Squared team. It's something that allowed me in the early days to really differentiate our services compared to other agencies. And still to this day, it's one of the biggest things that wins us clients fundamentally, is our core values and how we treat clients. Because in digital marketing, there's so much BS out there. People will overpromise, underdeliver. They would have taken a course from one of these gurus, and then they would have tried and sold them. The, the funniest thing I always find is you often see it in Facebook groups within the industry where someone goes, "Oh, hi, I just landed this amazing client. What do I do next?" And I'm thinking, Jesus Christ, why? In my mind, I'd never take on a client not knowing how to properly deliver, because I'd learned, self-taught and previous experience, learned so much about Facebook advertising that when clients came to us, I'd have a solution for them, and I wouldn't have to then try and figure it out as much. So that's where we developed the All framework and different kind of funnel strategies that we implement to this day. And so culture starts with the founder. And then in terms of how we basically make sure people are a good fit, is we have a really, really in-depth, fairly long hiring process for a remote team. And one of the questions in one of the final interviews we ask is, how did you find the hiring process? Was there anything that surprised you? And consistently, all the feedback we get from people who want to work for Gecko Squared is it was way more in depth than I've ever gone through, because we do skills test, we do like 2 rounds of interviews, and they also said it was hard because we're getting people to work on fictitious client scenarios that are built from real client scenarios. So they're going to be implementing during the hiring process exactly what they'll be doing when they're working on live clients. And so the biggest thing we found with cultural fit is you can train up almost, I don't want to say almost anyone, but you can train up someone to be a really good account manager. We have excellent resources when we onboard new account managers, and we only hire people with a certain level of skill to begin with, because those are the ones that make it through the skills test. What you can't train is someone to have really good cultural fit. So as throughout the whole hiring process, application, all the way to first interview, throughout the skills test, back and forth communication, and then final interview, it's all about how do they fit with our 6 core values, basically. And if they aren't a good fit, they don't get hired fundamentally. So everyone on the team has first and foremost been evaluated for cultural fit, because that's the most important thing. If you have a bad apple, you have someone who isn't a good cultural fit, it's going to mess up the team dynamic. It's going to cost the business loads of money. And so I work really hard at making everyone aware that this is how, if you're going to join the team, this is how you have to behave. This is not really how you have to behave. This is what people already internalize themselves. And that's what attracts them to to applying in the first place.
I love that, because I think, I mean, my own experience is I've hired people to manage client accounts before, and you'll find that they're amazing ads people, like brilliant at the Facebook ads side of things.
Yeah.
But they're terrible at communications.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like in communications with me internally, but also communications with the client.
Yeah.
And I mean, at the end of the day, the client's relationship with you is the most important thing.
Yeah.
So if you can't find somebody that has a good
Mm-hmm.
cultural fit along with your values of, communication, then it's never going to work, is it?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
how about you in terms of your hiring? Have you made any hiring mistakes?
So if I'm honest, the short answer is no. We've been really lucky in that everyone who's joined the team is a really good fit. We haven't had any problems. We've never had to get rid of anyone on the team. We've never made that mistake, or I've personally never made that mistake of hiring someone that didn't work out, because, and I think that's testament to just how important and how much focus we put on the hiring process to find the right person. Where some people will just be like, oh, let me just see some previous screenshots or case studies of who you've worked with. And, you look at a CV. We go way, 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 way deeper than that, because number one, we want people to be on the team for years and feel like because it's very difficult being remote, in that comparing it to an office environment, having worked in offices and COVID and everything has pushed everyone remote basically, but it's hard to kind of have that same personal connection in a remote environment than you would physically seeing someone in an office. And so we, again, work hard with regular team meetings and updates and chats and everything in Slack, which has allowed us to kind of bridge that gap. And then the other big thing is this idea that whenever we take on a new person, I'm always there to support them through everything. So there's no such thing as a dumb question. If they ever have any queries or they're not sure of anything, they always come to me. So it's not just a case of getting someone on board and letting them completely loose. I'm there to make sure they can do their job as well as they can and work to their best of their ability. Because otherwise, you'd just be a bad team leader in that case. You're supposed to be building, you build people up so they can be the most productive and best versions of themselves. And that's what gets really good delivery from a workload perspective.
I'm kind of glad you said that you didn't have any hiring mistakes there, because it kind of was testament to the hiring process that you have.
Yeah.
And I think that a hiring process is something that probably the vast majority of people that are listening to this, so the people that
Mhm.
we are, talking to with this podcast, my
Yeah.
audience, and I'm going to put myself in this bracket. We don't really have a hiring process,
Mhm.
or one that's as good as yours. Let's put it that way. I think that it's one of those things where making a hiring mistake costs so much time and energy
Mhm.
that having a process there in place is so important
Yeah.
and just absolutely vital to stop that unnecessary cost. And I think when you have a process in place backed up with the values that you've created and you make very, very public, it gives
Mhm.
you this nice recipe of being able to bring in people that are going to be a good fit for you and your clients and ultimately get them results,
Yeah.
which is what it's all about. So in
Yeah.
terms of the values then, when did you come up with them? And when do you think people should come up with them? Should it be a thing that people are thinking about as a freelancer? Should it be a
Yeah.
thing that people are thinking about as they start to bring on team member number 1, team member number 2? What do you think?
So I think you, as a business owner, you kind of implicitly have values already within you with how you deliver whatever your service is or product, whatever it might be. They're already there. It's just the way you do things. However, you've got to make that explicitly clear by, first of all, writing that down. So I did that pretty early on. And I got a lot. I got a lot of inspiration from a company called Buffer, so social media management company, because they again were very transparent with their core values. And I was thinking, okay, and I because fundamentally there was a gap at one time, as it was early days in the agency. I applied for one of the remote paid manager roles at Buffer. So I went through their first part of their hiring process. And that's really where and I only applied for that role because of the core values and how they aligned with my own. And therefore I thought, okay, that persuaded me so much to apply for a company in a remote position. I loved what they were doing. I didn't get a job, obviously, and I'm glad I didn't, actually, because I wouldn't be speaking to you, obviously, if I did, and we wouldn't be in the position where we are now. But it really allowed me to then think about the values that I have with clients, write them down, and then make them, when we were hiring, hire to those values, making them public, having that early on in the first part of the application. If you go to our website, it says you have to tick a box before you apply that says, I have read the core values of the company, and they align with me, basically. And if obviously everyone ticks that, but then as we go through interviews, we can really assess. That's why we have certain interview questions like, what's the most important core value to you, is one of our interview questions. And I'm not going to give away what one that we think is most important, because obviously anyone in future that is applying for roles, because we're constantly growing at the moment, I don't want them to all just potentially listen to this and be like, oh yeah, now I know what the best option is to say. But yeah, it's building into your questioning when hiring, but you want to definitely outline your core values early on, write them down, make them public, make them transparent. Because again, we show clients our core values, because that's how we're going to behave with clients. So whenever we do proposal review sessions, as part of the final process before someone signs up or comes to the decision about whether they want to work with us and we're both a good fit with each other, we say, these are the core values we live by on the team. This is what guides everything we do and how we deliver the service to you to get those amazing results from Facebook and Instagram advertising.
It's amazing. I think it's values are one of those things that when you're busy as a freelancer, you go, I don't really have time for that. It's like processes
Mhm.
and systems, right? It's one of those
Oh yeah.
things where you're like, I don't need to write SOPs. I don't need to create processes and systems in my business because, it's just me. I kind of know what I'm doing. And then you get to a
Mhm.
point where you're like, oh, I do need systems. I do need
Yeah.
processes. And I feel like values are exactly the same as those things. It's one of those things. It's just, there's always these things, right, that I find that people just don't do. When it
Mhm.
comes to our training and our, the content and the programs we put people through, we've got things like this, your customer avatar. That's one of those things that people just don't do. They just skip it
Yeah.
because they feel like they know it or they don't need to know it. And I think that
Yeah.
values are just like one of those things. People just don't do
Mhm.
it. I think going to your answer about the hiring mistakes, no hiring mistakes. And the fact that you chose to apply to Buffer based on their values just goes to show the importance of doing work like
Yeah.
this. And I also really love the idea of putting it public, making it
Mhm.
public, and walking clients through it, because then it doesn't just become an activity that you've done and you've sat down and gone, my values are fun, helpful. It's like something that you actually have to stand by and actually
Yeah.
means something. So
Mhm.
that's awesome. Now, one of the things that you spoke about was, starting that you're a control freak, which
Yeah.
I find really interesting because I'm exactly the same. And how, for those of you, for those that are listening and they're offering services as well, and they're at this point where they're starting to hire, starting to bring people on, how how did you find that process of initially handing over, accounts, handing over clients to other people to manage for you? Was it challenging?
Oh yeah, yeah. It was really, really difficult. If you ask Rose, who's one of our earliest account managers, and that was really when I was. You'll find her first like 2-3 months. I probably still annoyed her a lot in terms of being a little bit controlling about it. But over time, you learn to just give people the autonomy, basically, because the people work best when they are autonomous, basically. So when they have that control in themselves, you're not there kind of micromanaging or anything. And so now I've kind of flipped the other way where I'm still there for support, but it's not like controlling support. It's just if there's uncertainties or anything that's not clear in the SOPs or you need stuff explaining or anything like that, I'm always here. Ask away. I'll be here to help. But then ultimately, we put loads of trust in our account managers. We just give it all out. All the trust goes with them. These are the expectations. And then when you do that, people step up their game and deliver amazing work because you trust them. You're not managing them in such a way where they are second guessing their own actions, thinking, oh, what would Charlie think of this? Or they're coming to you collaboratively and we're working as a team, as opposed to I set this task, you just do it, basically.
Mm. And what advice would you give to people that are at that point themselves? So they're a bit control freaks. They're like, right, I'm at the point I
Yeah.
need to grow the team. I'm a little bit controlling,
Mm-hmm,
other
mm-hmm.
than just doing it and giving them the trust.
Yeah.
What feedback? What advice would you give 'em?
I would say, well, obviously, just do it like sooner rather than later, because if you do it too late and you're so busy, I'm glad we hired early, even with a bit of excess capacity. And now we've got the process locked down and we can just keep on adding team members really, really quickly. But it would be kind of put your trust in people fundamentally. Just put your trust in the people you're hiring. You've hired them for a reason. You've hired them to a set standard. Put your trust in people. Make sure you're continuously gathering feedback. So do check-ins on have team meetings, even if it's just you and one other person. Just check in regularly, like every week. For example, internally, every week we have a team meeting. And then I'll do like super short check-ins basically to see what people are working on any given day, basically, just to see how everything's going, just so they're aligned with what's going on. So I still have some oversight, obviously, on everything we're doing because there's no like middle management with us anymore. Sorry, they don't report to anyone. All the account managers report to me, basically, still. So yeah, just give people trust and just check in regularly and get feedback from them. That's the main thing.
Trust is such an important thing. And I think actually, I mean, when you're talking about this, it takes me back to your hiring process again. And it makes me think about, people right now. There's a slight tangent, but there's a point to it. So, we live in a world where the norm is to work 9 to 5, go to an office, work in traditional clothing. And when people want to work from home, there's bosses don't want to give people work from home, and they don't want to give people work from home because they, think that they're not going to be as productive at home. Now, this is actually a problem with trust,
Mm.
because they don't trust the staff to work from home or be efficient
Yep.
from home. And when I start to think about this, you're like, well, there's either one or two problems. Either you're not hiring the right people because the right people would do the work, or
Yep.
you've got a problem with your hiring process because you're not getting in the right people and you don't trust the people enough. And so I think, everything that you're telling me about you're talking about in terms of trusting people, give them autonomy, let them do the work and be there for support, all comes back down to the fact that you have this hiring process and these values that back up the hiring process, because the people that are coming in are going to be
Yep.
good.
Yep.
And so I want everybody that's listening to think about this, and what I want you to do is I want you to think about, right, if you're at that stage or even before the stage of needing to bring someone in, to think, right, what are the values? Let's write them down. Let's make them public. Boom, there's something. Also think about it from a hiring process perspective. What would you need to do in order to understand that somebody is going to be good enough to be on your team and get your clients results, whatever the
Yeah.
industry is? I think those are two huge takeaways from this interview already. So thanks for sharing all that, Charlie.
No problem.
Also, something else I want to ask you about is you've obviously got this all framework,
Yeah.
which is the framework that you use when you're working with clients. And
Mhm.
I presume that makes it a lot easier for when you're hiring people or when you're putting your trust in people, because you have
Mhm.
created a process, you've created a framework that works when it's
Yes.
implemented properly. So,
Yep.
first of all, do you want to give people an overview of the all framework? And
Yeah.
then what would be cool is to hear about how you use that all framework when you're working with account managers to go, right, this is the framework that we use.
Yeah.
Here's the SOPs, and we'll talk about it after.
Okay. So the All framework is basically a Facebook ad funnel system that consists of 3 main stages, and it moves someone from a complete stranger to a paying customer in the shortest amount of time by showing the right ads to the right people at the right time. Can you tell how many times I said that, like 1,000 times? What it's my presentation in Social Media Marketing World was all about this. So that's what it is. It consists of awareness at the top of the funnel, level 1 remarketing, also known as engagement remarketing, in the middle of the funnel, and then website remarketing, also known as level 2 website remarketing, at the bottom of the funnel. And then you have this other stage, this ancillary stage that sits alongside this, called cold purchase test or cold lead tests. And that's going straight to cold audiences with some type of offer positioning. And again, driving website traffic so you can fill up your bottom of funnel stage or bottom of funnel audiences and introduce remarketing to them. So that is it in a nutshell.
So you've got that all framework, which is
Yeah.
awesome. It gets results, and people, if you're listening and you want to learn more about that, then head over to Charlie's website, which you can
Yeah.
tell you about at the end to learn more about it.
Mhm.
But when it comes to you hiring people, growing your team,
Mhm.
working with more and
Mhm.
more clients, you've got this framework, which
Yeah.
is awesome. I think that is something that everybody needs to do, is to create
Mhm.
their own frameworks. We have like the growth funnel framework. You listening need to have your framework to get results for clients.
Yeah.
When it comes to your framework, Charlie, and your work, you're building your team, is it a case of you saying, look, this is the framework that we use, go and do it?
Mhm.
Or do you give those people autonomy to do what they want?
So basically most account managers already know something about the All framework before they even get to the hiring process, because a few of them, quite a few of them have followed either on the email list or have come from recommendations from other account managers, and so they're aware of what we do at the agency to begin with. And then it comes from a perspective of, before we onboard clients, we obviously go through a strategy on what the best strategy to implement for them is going to be based on their marketing assets, of which you end up implementing different funnel stages at a different time. So, for example, Easy Wins website is when you have loads of existing website traffic and you can implement cold purchase test campaigns and bottom of funnel website remarketing at the same time. And then we have SOPs based on the funnel implementation. So you have one of 4 options from scratch: Easy Wins engagement, Easy Wins website, or all in one. And every single client we work with will fall into one of those 4 strategy implementations. And then we have SOPs related to the audiences, the ad types, and everything you have to do to implement each of those funnel stages. And then again, we just go through with account managers. Like, we have a new client, for example, that's doing an all-in-one. So we've got to build out all their cold audiences, all of their warm audiences, so page engagement, Instagram and Facebook, and then all of their hot audiences as well. And we're going to launch all those campaigns at the same time once we finish this setup phase and we enter the management phase of how we work with clients. So yeah, it's all documented. It all follows a systemized process that's allowed us to scale, basically.
Yeah. I'm going to, before we go into the game round, I just want to, everybody that's listening, the main thing that's coming from this for me, the main takeaway that I want everybody to take away from this is the importance of processes and systems.
Yeah.
Like your hiring process, you've got a process for how you actually deliver the service, which means as you go and grow your team, it's all there laid out, and you're stopping yourself going to the pitfalls and making those hiring mistakes, which we don't want to make. So awesome stuff. Super interesting. Charlie, it is time to play a game.
It's time for the game round. It's like the Highland Games, but on a podcast.
The rules are simple. I've got 10 cards here. It's a 5-second rule. Have you ever heard of it? Played it?
No, I haven't. No. Talk to me.
Awesome. So I have 10 cards here. On each card is a statement. That statement will be something, which I have no idea what it's going to be, but it'll be something like, name 3 types of ice cream. You have 5 seconds to give me your answers, such as strawberry, chocolate, vanilla. So I am going to get the stopwatch up, and we are going to get this going. Now, the last guest that we had on, I think, got 6 out of 10. The best score we've had so far this season is 9 out of 10.
Oh, 9 out of 10. Who got 9 out of 10? Do you remember?
9 out of 10 was Alex Sharfin.
Okay.
So he was fast. He was good.
Oh, God, I'm not going to be very good at
Are you ready to play?
Yeah. Let's go.
Okay. Name 3 things that you might find in a playroom.
Dartboard, ball pit, and Playmobil.
Time out. Gotta be faster than that.
Oh, Jesus. Okay.
First thing.
How many seconds was that? Like 10 or something ridiculous like that?
5.5.
Oh, okay, I got to be quicker than that. Okay, yeah, let's go.
Interesting question here. Name 3 deceased actors.
Oh my God, I'm freezing. I've got nothing on these. I've got nothing on those.
This is when we really get to know people. Name 3 fish dishes.
Oh, fish and chips. Oh my God, I don't like fish, so I'm terrible at this.
Oh, come on, Charlie.
Fish and egg. Fish pie.
Right. Your time's out.
God, I'm so bad at this.
0 points. Name 3 things beginning with the letter J.
J. Jacket. Oh my God, J. Anything with J. Come on. J.
Jam, jacket, juice.
Honestly, I'm so bad at this. Okay.
Name 3 places you would find a phone number.
Oh, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
There we go. We're off the mark. We are off the mark.
Okay.
Name 3 things that might make you scream.
Oh, spiders, the dark, ghosts.
There we are. See, you got that. You're on the roll now.
We found a rhythm here.
Yeah. Name 3 famous landmarks.
Oh, Rio, Christ the Redeemer, Big Ben, the London Eye.
Time. Sorry. Name 3 pizza ingredients.
Oh, cheese, tomato, pepperoni.
Boom. Easy. 2.5 seconds.
There we go.
Name 3 rugby clubs.
Oh, London Irish, Wasps, and Toulouse.
Oh, time. Okay, Charlie, this is the last one. Name 3 things that go with chips.
Oh, mushy peas, fish, and sausage.
Yes, there we go. Boom. Charlie, you scored 4 out of 10.
Oh, that was terrible.
It's I think it's the joint lowest.
Yeah, okay.
But
right, no need to rub it in.
You're in good company with some other people there in the 4 out of 10 club. We're going to wrap things up now with the rapid fire round.
Time for the rapid fire round. 10 questions, 10 answers, no context. Are you ready?
Okay. I'm going to ask you 10 questions. You're not allowed to give
Yep.
me any context, but I'm going to ask you for some.
Okay.
So, first question is, what is your favorite book?
4-hour work week.
Nice. What's your favorite word?
Oh, honesty.
Oh, that's a good one. What is your most hated food?
Oh, mayonnaise.
What?
Yeah.
Okay. That was interesting. I love a bit of mayo and chips. I thought you'd quite like that with your steak, but never mind. What's your biggest pet peeve? That's either business or personal.
Let's go business. So, ridiculous words in emails like synergy,
Oh, yeah.
like
Biz
buzzwords. Yeah.
jargon. Gotta love a bit of
Mm-hmm.
synergy between us. There's quite a lot of synergy between us in this podcast, Charlie. We should trying to think of some other buzzwords. It's not coming to me. What was your dream job as a child?
Oh, astronaut. That was what it was.
Nice. Very cool. There's quite a lot of common between us. You know, we started the business game young. I wanted to be an astronaut. Still wearing Facebook ads.
Yeah.
Cool. What's your favorite music genre?
Rap.
Nice. Would not have expected that. What's your drink of choice?
Gin tonic.
Nice. Favorite gin? You got a favorite gin?
Oh yeah, Tanqueray Seville Orange.
Not had
My
that.
go-to at the moment.
Nice. Very cool. Are you a morning or a night person?
Morning.
Would you rather cuddle a baby panda or a baby chimp?
Panda.
And what is one parting piece of advice you'd like to give everybody listening?
I would say be kind to other people, honestly. I know that sounds super cliche, but you've just got to lead with kindness, and then everything else is going to follow, basically. Success, all of that. Just don't be a dickhead. That's the best way to put it.
I love it. Don't be a dick. Be a good person.
Yeah.
Good things will happen to you. Charlie, that has been absolutely amazing. That I know everybody that is listening to this is going to absolutely love everything that you said. I just think the what you talk about there in terms of values and processes and combining those two things is going to provide a lot of people a lot of value. And I want everybody listening to actually go and do that. Take note right now. Go and do those things that we spoke about, because it will change the game for you. It will.
Yeah.
Charlie, where can everybody learn more about you, what you do, the framework, all those fun things?
Okay, so you can find everything about the framework and strategies all on the agency websites. That's geckosquared.co.uk. And then you can find me across social, just Charlie Lawrence. Lawrence, we're spelled weirdly, 2 A's, LAWRANCE. And yeah, check out my YouTube channel as well. That's kind of where we're posting loads of new content. And then we're cross-promoting it to Instagram.
Yeah, and you'll see some really cool videos on that YouTube channel as well. Charlie's talking at Social Media Marketing World and the vlogs that he made there, which are really good. So go and check those out, folks. And if you enjoyed listening to this, which I hope you did, if you are currently listening, because you've listened to the full thing, thanks. Take a screenshot of your phone, post it on Instagram, tag me and Charlie, and let us know what's the one thing you took away from this. What's the one thing that you are going to go and do? So go over to our Instagram. You heard him, Charlie Lawrence. I'm at Mr. Gavin Bell. Tag us in it, and I was going to say you'll win something. You won't. You'll just, you won't win anything, but it'll be cool for us to see the big thing that you took away. You know, in fact, you will win. You will win because you're going to take away the goodness, you're going to implement it, and you will get a win from that. Charlie, thanks again for being here, for being such a good guest. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you so much for having me. Awesome.
Boom. Podcast is done. We are currently still live. For those of you that are watching and have watched this live, thanks for being here. I appreciate you. If you are watching on the replay, thank you so much again for being here. I would love it if you could go check out Charlie's stuff. If you want to learn more about Charlie and some of the things we spoke about today, you can head over to mrgavinbell.com/podcast, and we'll have all the links to Charlie's amazing stuff in there. And finally, if you haven't already, please be sure to hit subscribe, leave a review, all those fun things. And I'm actually going to be doing another podcast tonight at 8:30 p.m. If you want to come in and tune in live for that, it's going to be fun. James says he thinks he tuned in too late. Well, James, you're just going to have to go back and watch the replay, aren't you? Awesome. Folks that have been watching live on the replay, thanks so much for being here. And I'll see you all tonight for another episode at 8:30.
Awesome.
Ciao.